Hello, I'm Blair Labatt, Chairman of Opera San Antonio, and with me is Lauren Meeker, who's just been appointed General and Artistic Director for the Opera Company. I'm so pleased to introduce her to you and to welcome Lauren to San Antonio. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you, Blair. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, Opera San Antonio has just finished its 5th year as resident opera company in the Tobin Center. Tell us a little bit about your involvement with the company before this time.
Fantastic. It's been a blessing to be here, and I've had essentially 3 years with the company, so it's starting to feel like home. I started with a production of The Barber of Seville, which was my first experience 3 seasons ago, and followed that up immediately with a production of La Boheme, and then followed that up just this past fall with our production of Tosca. And in tandem with that, the other wonderful progression has been moving from stage director into an artistic advisor along with Garnett Bruce, and we've had a wonderful collaboration in the last year in that capacity. And then just this fall, announcing my new position as general and artistic director. I really think that's allowing me to take my love for the city, my love for the company, and really help to shepherd us into the future of opera in San Antonio.
And how did you get involved in opera in the first place?
By accident, I really have to say. It was a cold day, both in terms of the weather in Boston and of the work I had at the time, having just recently graduated from Boston University. And really out of the blue, a former college roommate contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm stage managing, and it's for an opera company in Boston, and would you be interested in working with me?" And honestly, my answer was, "Would you pay me?" She said yes, and I said, "I'm there." And what I didn't know by saying yes was that this was going to be a major and unexpected turning point. I was, prior to that, a theater major. I walked in the door and it was right place, right time. It was a piece called Kurt Weill's Lady in the Dark. It was in English, it needed dialogue coaching, it needed choreography, it needed fight direction, and I thought, oh my goodness, here is this art form where I can use all of my skills at the same time.
What do you see the direction of Opera San Antonio being under your leadership?
We have a couple of different facets that I really want to fulfill here. We're looking at ways to continue our outreach within the community, and I think we owe it to the community of San Antonio to be able to expose as many people to the art form as we can. So when you're looking at pieces like La Boheme, or even like the Tosca that we did this fall, or the Rigoletto that we have coming up this spring, those are masterpieces of the operatic canon, but we have an audience that maybe hasn't seen those masterpieces before. And the music is stunning, the story is stunning, our work with the symphony and their musicians are stunning, and of course, the human voice and what we bring with the cast is phenomenal. So we have a real commitment to producing grand opera in what I'm coming to discover is a really grand city on a scale that fits our home at the Tobin Center.
Well, Lauren, there has been relatively little opera here in San Antonio over the last few years. As Opera San Antonio attempts to establish its audience, who do you see that audience as being in San Antonio, the audience for opera?
It's everyone. I really and truly believe that opera is for everyone. And it comes with a misconception that I think it is only for people of a highly cultured, long history of experience or exposure to classical music. It is so fun to come into the Opera House for the first time as you are, in a way that delights you, no matter what walk of life you're from. The stories encompass tales that are intrinsic to who we are as humans and the struggles we go through on a day-to-day basis. And the greatest stories that we're telling have themes that were as resonant when they were written, which in some cases is hundreds of years ago. And surprisingly, those themes we can still learn from today. There's a place for everyone if you come with an open heart and an open mind.
What do you think might surprise the audience if they come to an opera?
I think you'll be surprised at how easy it is to relate to the experience, to the stories that are being told. And I think you'll be surprised at how much story you can understand. Costumes, lighting, sets, dancers, sometimes acrobats. There is so much in the visual mix that's storytelling. And even though we're singing in different languages, we, like with movies, title it. So I think a lot of people sometimes get afraid that they're going to come to the opera and they won't understand what's happening. We work really hard to make sure that the story has a huge impression on our audience members that's easy to follow. So we use titles just like you would do on a foreign film. And beyond accessibility, it's gorgeous and transcendent. There's just nothing else like it that's immersive and magical the way opera is.
We also named Francesco Miliotto as our first music director for Opera San Antonio. Tell us a bit about your relationship and history with Francesco.
So I'm thrilled to be in collaboration with him, and I think this is a real full circle moment for us. Francesco and I actually met at the Lyric Opera of Chicago, what is now about 5 years ago, and we met on a production of Rigoletto, and then sort of went our separate ways. And come to find out, Francesco had been engaged here to conduct Traviata. Then we came back around and worked together both on Tosca this fall, and that collaboration will then continue on Rigoletto, which is what gets us right back around full circle when we do Rigoletto together this spring.
Well, it's a thrill to have you here and to introduce you to the people of San Antonio, and a great, exciting opportunity. I can't help but feel that together we will, in fact, establish opera as a very important part of the performing arts scene in our city. Thank you, Lauren, and welcome to San Antonio.
Thank you, Blair.